I think we have a divide on this debate as well. P.K. Tiwari, former Director General Police Rajasthan, is on one side, as is K.C. Singh, who also questions this whole business of taking away the Lal Batti culture. I'm not sure of T.S.R. Subramaniam's position, former Cabinet Secretary, but welcome to the show. Rahul Mehra, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, who welcomes it. Sudhir Telang welcomes it. My first question is to Aryaman Sundaram. Mr. Sundaram, where do you stand on removing the Lal Batti culture once and for all?
I think the Supreme Court is reflecting what I think is a very popular belief among most people in India, that it's terribly overused. You know, I've been hearing some criticisms or some statements being made. The red light should only be used for those who are legally authorized to use. We're not talking about those who are legally authorized to use it. Obviously, nobody else should use it. If they are, they're breaking the law. Our question is, who should be legally authorized to use it? Can the huge spectrum of people who today use it, it's become a badge of honor, and it creates huge traffic issues, huge issues of inconsideration to other people, and that is what I think the Supreme Court is reflecting. The view of every man, saying this is being terribly misused. It can be used for two reasons. One, for security purposes, that everybody understands. The second, and how it all started, was there were some high functionaries whose time was being paid for by the people. And the people were concerned that such time ought not to be wasted in being caught up in traffic jams and other things. This coupled with the fact of the security. But today it's become a badge of honor for everybody. Every single MLA, every single MP, everybody
exactly
should have this red light, and forgets the fact that everybody's time is precious to them.
And I don't know if anybody uses
insignia of honor.
No, it's not as if there are no unimportant people in the United States of America or Germany or the United Kingdom. I mean, but every equivalent of a district collector does not go around with a Lal Batti. So, K.C. Singh, I wonder on what basis do you feel that the judges are not completely right in what they are suggesting?
No, Arnab, I agree with the judges. I think they are absolutely right about it. In fact, I agree with them because abroad one has done it. I've been ambassador to Abu Dhabi, where we had 1 million Indians. It's like being a chief minister in a small state. But I only used the flag on the car, which I was entitled to, either to go to the Foreign Office or to when I was going for an official meeting. But you don't go for social occasions with the flag flying. Similarly, you must make a distinction between what is functionally required and what has become just a status symbol. I've seen people come into the golf club in Delhi, even visiting governors, complete with their red light and their retinue simply to play golf or simply to have a meal with someone. I mean, they should hardly be using the red light for that. So I think we mixed up the personal and the public. We mixed up the security aspect with purely a status symbol. Because if you are a protectee and there is a danger to your life, in any case you have a police escort. So why do you need a red light? The red light is in fact used by people who are not protectees, who do not have a police escort with them. They are a single man police escort themselves, being a public nuisance.
But MPs use red lights. So members of parliament use red lights. MLAs use red lights. I'm sorry to say this, but I have even seen advocate generals and additional advocate generals of states use red lights. It's not just the red light, they also use the siren to wade their way through traffic. So it's about right of way, isn't it, T.S.R. Subramaniam? It's simply saying, I am more equal than you, let me go through first.
Yes, Arnab, I think that more and more people feel that they are VIPs now, and this is a status symbol. This is waving the flag saying that I am a great man. I think we have seen just in the last week 3-4 examples. We saw Raju Bhaiya in Kunda. We saw the MLAs in Mumbai beating up the policeman just because he stopped them for traffic. We saw in Punjab some people being shot down. We are seeing this all over the place. I think there are two separate issues. One is there is a great need to restrict the number who are entitled to use. I can't understand why a munsif, I can't understand income tax commissioner, a block pramukh. I don't understand why these people need it. We have to restrict it. It has to be only for functional necessity, sort of magistrates on duty. On duty is the key word. And policemen on duty, police patrols, etc., etc. Secondly, we see these ladies going to sabji mandi buying sabji using the, using
a good
red
point.
light. I mean, this is preposterous. One is restrict the use to number of people, largely. Secondly, anything not on duty. For example, the American ambassadors all over the world, they cannot use it for any private, they will be dismissed. This is a dismissible offense. Lastly, I am very dismayed by the comment made by a senior MP who was on TV just now, saying that this is a non-binding and this is also a passing reference. This is the kind of casual way in which, yes, who is questioning government's right to make law? That's not the question. Supreme Court, unfortunately, Supreme Court is acting as a guardian of public interest. Government, whose primary job it is now treating us disdain.
Well, I would like to place on record here that this debate has happened before. And parliamentarians across the political spectrum at that time made a strong demand for being given the right to sport red beacons atop their vehicle, and they said we'll approach the Prime Minister if we are stopped from doing so. May I just check here? I was told there are some people here on the panel who think that they would support the red beacons. I'm very pleasantly surprised tonight to find that there aren't any, because this country is changing.
Arnab, I would like to make a point.
P.K. Tiwari supports the red batti culture. So why do you support the Lal Batti culture?
No, I don't. I would agree with the judgment or the ideas expressed by the Supreme Court when they have said, when they have wanted the central government to put an end to this red beacon culture. I am absolutely, totally in support of what they have to say. In fact, I would raise a very basic question. What do these red beacons stand for?
Yeah.
What do they suggest?
Yeah.
What is the utility?
True.
What's the objective of putting up a red beacon on the vehicle?
Yeah.
It's my feeling that there's a schism which these red beacons create between the public and on one side and the bureaucrats on the other side. You know, when they see, when the public in an agitated mood sees a vehicle with a red beacon, they tend to get more agitated. So why have these red beacons at all? And then with all this halla and hullabaloo about the red beacons being misutilized, all varieties of people are using it as and when they want it. The Jilla Pramukhs, the Sarpanches.
True.
All heads of boards, all sorts of boards created by the government, state governments. All these people are using these red beacons. What for?
It's the VIP culture.
It serves no useful purpose. I think we should agree with the Supreme Court and do away with this red beacon culture.
It's a VIP culture. In our country, more than what we do for our country, we want to be VIPs. And I want to share here that in August 2010, Sudhir, just coming to you, Rahul, just coming to you, in Pune, a share broker was arrested for impersonating a member of the Economic Advisory Council and using that to display the national emblem and also put the Lal Batti on his car. And a 30-year-old driver with the Haryana Irrigation Department was arrested for drug trafficking in a Lal Batti car. So it's being used for all kinds of nefarious purposes. Yes, Sudhir.
Yes. Arnab, let me show a cartoon actually.
Yeah, go on.
Can you just close up on it?
Oh, we'll put the close up in. One second.
Arnab,
raise it.
The arrogance of politicians, and that includes Trinamool politicians also, can be tempered only by cartoons. Well, this cartoon I did a few months back, and I did it when MPs and MLAs demanded that they should be treated differently in airports and metro also. So I did this cartoon. This MP with a headlight, with a red light on his head is going, and the wife is saying that Gandhi cap is passe now. He has a red light helmet now.
That's a good one.
All right. And so I just want to lighten the mood a little bit after your debate with the politician.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe in Darwin's theory of evolution, you know, by now our VVIPs would have already grown a red light naturally on their heads because they've been using the red light so much. And let me tell you that these VVIPs have turned the whole country into a red light area.
Well, that's about
Arnab, this is part of our DNA. This is part of our DNA. This is part of our DNA. What has happened is that we haven't been able to get over this feudal past that we had.
Yeah.
But we must remember this is it is not 15th century or 16th century. We are living in 21st century India. This is independent India.
Well said.
That time is gone when there used to be, advance party before a Maharaja came, which announced that ba mashakkat ba mulahija hoshyar Maharaja Dhiraj XYZ is padhar rahe hain, is coming.
So true.
Now, in fact, the pilot cars, the red light cars, everything that you have, there is no point in becoming an MLA or MP or becoming an officer if you do not have these perks of power. What is the point if you don't have a red light car?
No, I don't.
The MLA, when he goes to the village or to his city, he has to announce before he arrives that thousands of people must either be scared, intimidated, or must know that the new Maharaja is coming.
No,
we have converted the whole country
Arnab,
into
can I say something
545
here?
new Maharajas.
This red beacon
Just
concept is the
545
relic
new
of the
Riyasats,
past.
Arnab.
No, I'm very glad to hear this point. Mr. Sundaram, I'm just coming to you. Before that, I want to get in our last panelist, Rahul Mehra. You see, there is, by the way, our viewers are asking, are there some rules? And I want to point out before I come to Rahul, that there are specific rules. Some 10 people and categories can have a red light with a flasher. And there are some 15 other people who can have a red light without a flasher, which means that in a country of 1.2 billion people, officially, some 15 people can have a red light with a flasher. Some another 15, 20 people can use a red light. Maybe 20, 30, 40 people maximum can use a red light without a flasher. I think in our country, there will be at least a few million cars with red lights on them. The only vehicle in many people's view that deserves a red light is an ambulance. That has a right of way. Rahul, what would you like to say on this?
And fire brigade.
Arnab, all of this just reflects one thing, which is a complete bankruptcy as far as the morals and ethics amongst all those people who use the red beacon. Gone are the days when you could segregate societies like this. It is about time that the Supreme Court really comes with a diktat. It not only passes a very affirmative order, but ensures that the implementation of it. We have police reforms of 2006 judgment which are not being implemented by the politicians. So, it's one thing to have a passing reference and an observation being made during the course of a case. It's quite another when you come down heavily on the entire class and say that this far and no further. I would like to say two things out here, Arnab, which are extremely important. One, it is not only the red beacon which actually has now become a sense of I have arrived in the society. It is my time to now rule over the people. It should be exactly the opposite. If you are a sensitive politician, and politicians are not politicians, politicians are people who serve the community. It is a service to the community, it is a service to the nation. But it has all become all about self-serving individuals who want to amass the public exchequer's money and not only arrive in terms of the red beacon, but arrive in terms of the wealth that they accumulate at the expense of the public exchequer. And secondly, and more importantly, I think it's not only about the red beacon and the innumerable, huge amount of security personnel. I was surprised about a year back. I was at the Delhi airport, and one of the former chief ministers, she had almost about 100 security men and 50, luxury cars, where almost 49 of them were used by security personnel. So, see the amount of wastage of public money, and yet we say that the politician should have the last call. I would make a call to the nation that we should actually publicly shame these people. And for the media, I think it is important that you actually focus on every leader when he gets into the parliament or into the assembly and show that these are the guys who are using the red beacons.
Well,
and shame
certainly, I
them
think that's
publicly
a very good idea, Rahul.
And finally,
it's a very good idea, and I'd like to
just one more thing.
Okay.
Arnab, one more thing. Which I want to place before the people through your medium is that it's not about red beacons. It's about the huge amount of public assets in terms of land that they are accumulating in Luton's Delhi and all the other states in the city, in the various states where politicians are sitting on 4 acres like Maharajas, like what the British era.
I get your point, but let me actually I'll come to Rahul. I appreciate your views on amassing of land, etc. But I just want to make one point before I come back to Aryaman, because Aryaman Sundaram wanted to come in, that this issue came in before parliamentarians. And some MPs put the following argument, Mr. Sundaram. There was a man called Arjun Ram Meghwal of the BJP, I think. He said even an additional district magistrate gets a Lal Batti. But an MP, I represent lakhs of people. Why am I deprived of it? So you see, that is... And they were supported by Congress MPs,
Exactly.
BSP MPs, JDU MPs and Trinamool MPs. And then they said that if we have a Lal Batti, we will be able to serve the people better.
Arnab, I would like to make a
can't
point.
hear you.
Yeah, but, no, Mr.
Arnab, can I answer there?
Yeah, please, Mr. Sundaram, go ahead.
Look, I believe that we are somewhere missing the plot over here. I heard what Rahul had just said, and I'm afraid I don't agree with him to this extent. And let me tell you why. He seems to feel this is a modern phenomenon. It is not a modern phenomenon. It's as old as mankind is. From the very beginning of mankind, everybody wanted some emblem, some insignia of honor, of respect to show that he is one above everybody else. Are you aware that in the 90s, a judge of the Madras High Court actually passed a judicial order that judges should be given red lights on their cars and not have to follow traffic signals? It is an actual order passed by a judge of the Madras High Court. Now the fact I'm trying to make out, wait a moment, the fact that I'm trying to state here is, I'm glad that today we have become aware. We have become aware that this has reached a proportion which has become absolutely ridiculous, where somebody turns around and says, look, if he can have it, why can't I have it?
Precisely.
And what it's really become is keeping up with the Joneses or one more than the other person. But where it really starts from is the citizen himself who, once he occupies a position, wants to show that he has occupied that position, wants to show his importance. That's where it comes from. And what has really happened is that this attitude has been there for many years. But what I'm glad is because of the overuse of it and too many citizens who take positions wanting to use this, that people like you and I have now stood up and said, look, there's something wrong here. And I'm glad to say that the Supreme Court has said there's something wrong.
Well, it's good. Okay, Rahul,
it really starts not from the government. It starts from the citizen.
Brief rebut from Rahul, then I go back to KC Singh. Yes, briefly, Rahul.
Arnab, I don't think Mr. Sundaram really got my point or appreciated what I said. I think he's completely misconstrued the proposition that I was placing before you. It's not about that it's not been there as old as mankind. But if there are wrong principles being set, and India is a democracy, it's about we the people. Our constitution starts with the words, we the people. But has the ruling class...
Exactly, and now we've become aware of it, and now we're doing something about it, and I'm happy about that.
We are the rulers. We are the rulers in a democracy, and they are the subservient servants of us, the rulers. And it's exactly the opposite of what is happening, which is why there is one man, Arvind Kejriwal, of whom I very proudly am a member of that party, and I say that's the man who has said we won't get into these bungalows, we won't get into these cars, we will shun them all if you get us into power. It's up to the people of India now to stand up and say this is the change that we want. If we really want change, then there is a change.
Thank you. I'll discuss the Aam Aadmi Party with you again. I'll discuss the Aam Aadmi Party with you again, and I hope you are right, and when you come to power, I hope that you will implement what you are saying here. But let's not discuss the Aam Aadmi Party now.
The question is more relevant. Every word of it, Arnab. Every word of it will be implemented.
I have a direct question to the respected former DGP of Rajasthan. Tell me, Mr. Tiwari, you had a red light on your car when you were DGP. Can you tell me from what rank onwards you had a red light or blue light or whatever light and siren on your car? And can you tell me as a follow-up of that, did it help you do your job better?
There's a government order which says that all district superintendents of police, all district collectors will wear the red light in the districts. In the division, it's a divisional commissioner and the Inspector General of Police of the range. And at the state level, it is the Chief Secretary, it is the Director General of Police and the Additional Chief Secretary of Home. So there are very, very limited number of bureaucrats who are allowed to wear the beacon.
Okay, now the follow-up question is, there are a
lot of people in the police headquarters or in the state secretariat.
Sir, follow-up question is, you've been DGP of Rajasthan. 1 minute,
without any orders.
Sir, the question is, you've been DGP of Rajasthan. Now, I know that several MLA equivalents in Rajasthan put the red light. Are they also entitled to? I don't think they are entitled to. And if they are not entitled to, or MPs,
no, they are not.
They are not. Then why is, I mean,
they are not.
I may sound a little impractical, but why was action not taken against them ever? even sarpanches, why is none of these sarpanches or MLAs or MPs arrested for violating a rule, violating a basic rule of the Constitution of India? Is there a fear that, you know, politicians, you can't touch them kind of thing?
No, Arnab, it is not a cognizable offence on which you can register an FIR. You cannot make an arrest on that count.
Sir, no, but you can take suo moto action.
It's
you can remove the red light.
Offense.
No, you can remove a red light. You can take suo moto
Yes,
action.
the
You can
red
say
lights
you
can
are
be removed.
I am
That is
allowed,
true.
but you are not.
That is true. They can be removed.
But why has not one MLA's
But
red
then you
light
do it
ever
for
been
once
removed?
and they start all over again.
No, watch it. I know many people. I'm hosting this program from Mumbai. I know many people who are MLA equivalent people who put a red light on. This is not for you. I'm asking you, why has no Sarpanch, MLA or MP's red light ever been removed in the history of independent India when they have been committing this illegality for so many years? Why?
Because
No, I do agree with what you have to say.
The law.
I do agree to what you are saying, that yes, these lights should have been removed by some authorities or the other. Yes, I do agree with
that
you.
Is and KC Singh, because you've served abroad, may I ask you, sir, may I ask you, KC, whether you know the equivalent of the deputy member of the deputy chairman of the planning commission, or the equivalent of a minister of state or a deputy minister, or the equivalent of a, you know, public service commission chairman or member uses red lights anywhere in, say, the United Kingdom?
In the West, it's absolutely out of the question. You will not find it. Arnab, I win in New York for the UN General Assembly sessions, when you have almost 100 odd heads of state in New York. The Secret Service moves them, but they move them with an escort to the UN and back. And that's it. And they move them, but there's no question of beacons and people with red lights on them running around New York. So there is certain control there. It is functional. I think we have to make this distinction that a person must use it for the limited purpose, for official area and within his designated area. The problem in Delhi is particularly acute because people from 6 or 7 neighboring states with their lights converge on Delhi and they keep using them in Delhi. Now it's absolutely uncalled for because they are coming from far away and these cars are running around Delhi and there is no check on them. So it needs controlling, it needs self-discipline, that you only use it for that area, for the limited purpose, for your official functioning. Now, Member of Parliament saying, I represent so many people, let him use it in his constituency.
Mr. Subramaniam.
Let me give you one interesting example, Arnab. One interesting anecdote. There's a nephew of mine who used to be minister in Punjab. He will use it on the highway, but actually switch it off when he entered his constituency. Because he said, each time we use the siren, I lose 100 votes. So they realize that the public doesn't like it.
No, that's very true. But I also know additional advocate generals and advocate generals who use them in the most crowded traffic of Mumbai to get their way through. My last question, TSR Subramaniam, sir, you've been India's biggest, I mean, not the biggest, I would say the most senior bureaucrat at one point of time. Will your class, the bureaucracy, allow this perk to be taken away from them?
Well, it should be enforced. It has been heavily abused, as has been mentioned. Let me give you a very short anecdote. Long back when I was a student in London, we had Harold Macmillan, the then Prime Minister of England, was going in the same metro. He walked in with just one assistant carrying his own umbrella, carrying his own briefcase. His one guard was there and nobody even got up and gave him his seat. That is the kind of a culture we need to slowly bring. I agree entirely with Rahul. That people, one. Number two, it has to be functional, cannot be used for private purposes. Categories must be heavily limited. And only one last facetious point, only person probably by name should be Robert Vadra, based on past precedent.
Last word to T.S. Sudhir.
Arnab. Yes, Arnab, let me show another cartoon to you, which will make the point very clear. Can you show it quickly?
Go on, let's focus on that.
Let me say one thing, that, you know, on the program in the beginning, I believe you showed Mr. P.C. Chacko saying something. And what he said was that Supreme Court's observation doesn't mean anything to us. We will take the decision. And that is exactly the reason, because the problem begins from the top, not from the policeman or DIG or DGP or whoever. They cannot take the action because the problem begins at the top. MPs, MLAs, ministers, Prime Minister, everybody wants everybody to use the perks of power. That's the only problem.
Well, Sudhir Telang, thank you very much for that.